Bula, Malale, Talofa, and welcome to Season 6, Episode 21 of Breakfast Bites by TevovoSports.com. A wrap of Pacifica People's sports news on a bright and warm Friday morning, 21 July 2023. Coming to you with tons of Anisi from the 180th meridian in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. In the FIFA World Cup, Hannah Wilkinson scored the only goal as co-host New Zealand recorded a historic 1-0 victory over Norway in the opening game of the Women's World Cup last night. It was the Kiwis' first ever win at the World Cup and came in front of more than 42,000 fans in Auckland, the biggest crowd in New Zealand football history. While in Sydney, the Matildas opened their World Cup account with a hard-fought 1-0 win over the Republic of Ireland in front of a record crowd of 75,784 at Stadium Australia. But Aussie superstar striker Sam Kerr will miss at least the first two games of the tournament with a calf strain. Today, Nigeria versus Canada at 12:30 p.m. in Melbourne, Philippines versus Switzerland at 5 p.m. in Dunedin, and Spain versus Costa Rica at 7:30 p.m. in Wellington. In rugby, Caleb Muntz leads the Fiji Water Flying Fijians at fly half versus Tonga tomorrow on his first test debut with the explosive star power of halfback Frank Lomani inside him and Joshua Tuisova outside him, with captain and centre Waisea Nayadalevu around him as well. Celestino Rabutaumanda on one wing and Isoa Nasilasila at lock are also on debut. At the end of this podcast, I take a closer look at this test stacked full of global rugby stars in background buzz. Also in Rugby Union, an Anzac Invitational 15 will play the British and Irish Lions in their July 2025 tour that also includes 3 tests against the Wallabies. All 5 Australian Super Rugby teams will also get a shot at the combined best players from England, Ireland, Scotland and Wales. In Rugby League, Junior Tupou scored twice and Apisai Koroisau also scored for West Tigers to hold a 14-12 lead at the break. But from then on, it was all one-way traffic as the Dragons scored the only points of the second half with an impressive try from Mikaele Ravalawa for a 18-14 win. In the big clash at Sunshine Coast Stadium tonight, South Sydney Rabbitohs star Latrell Mitchell has been ruled out against the Brisbane Broncos, despite completing yesterday's captain's run. According to the Sydney Morning Herald, Souths want to give Mitchell another week off to recover from his calf injury. Also tonight, the New Zealand Warriors take on the Canberra Raiders at Go Media Stadium, wherever that is, formerly known as Mount Smart Stadium in Auckland, I think. On Saturday, the Knights play the Melbourne Storm in Newcastle, while the Cowboys take on the Parramatta Eels in Townsville later. And on Sunday, it's the Panthers versus the Bulldogs at Bluebet Stadium. In sports biz, as the FIFA Women's World Cup began last night down under, FIFA President Gianni Infantino declined to comment on pay disparities and their goal of offering equal prize money at the next Men's and Women's World Cups. Focus on the positive, focus on the happiness, focus on the joy, the FIFA president said instead, adding that he would discuss deeper issues in the game after the World Cup concludes next month. While prize money for this FIFA Women's World Cup totaling US $110 million is more than 3 times the US $30 million paid out at the 2019 World Cup for women, it is still only 25% of the US $440 million awarded to men's teams in the FIFA World Cup in Qatar last year. In combat sports, the number 1 UFC middleweight contender, Dricius du Plessis of South Africa, has pulled out of UFC 293 in Sydney, Australia on 10 September, according to UFC middleweight champion Israel Adesanya. Apparently, du Plessis has not recovered from beating Robert Whittaker at UFC 290 earlier this month. In the Tour de France, Pello Bilbao was issued a warning by the UCI race jury after the Basque rider punched a spectator who appeared to block his path while running alongside him during the race. Meanwhile, yellow jersey owner Jonas Vingegaard has been swamped with anti-doping tests, like 4 in 48 hours, including one just an hour before the start of Wednesday's 17th stage, his Jumbo-Visma team said, amid skepticism over the Danes' performances. We are perfectly fine with it. We've been asking the International Cycling Union to act like this actually. To be honest, I fully understand the skepticism. We have to be skeptical with what happened in the past. Otherwise, it could happen again, Vingegaard told a press conference. He leads by 7 minutes 35 seconds after stage 18 yesterday. Okay, so in background buzz this morning, I take a closer look at the Fiji versus Tonga test in Lautoka, Fiji tomorrow, where young Caleb Muntz leads the Fiji Water Flying Fijians at fly half on debut. And the big question Fiji fans are asking around the Kava Bowl tonight, will he be able to handle the pressure? Only time will tell, of course. Fiji head coach Simon Raivalui has named a very strong team, possibly the best test team that he can put out on the park this weekend. And of course, with the Rugby World Cup only weeks away, he wants to start off his campaign with a win. So, there's a lot at stake, as he said himself in his media conference announcing the team. The Tongans will be very competitive. So, back to young Mr. Muntz. His grandfather Barry came to Fiji from New Zealand to work at BNZ Bank in the early 1970s. He played and refereed many games at Churchill Park, where his grandson will play tomorrow. Sadly, Barry has passed away, but I'm sure his parents and his Fiji family, the Pickerings, from his grandmother's side, will be there in numbers on a very proud day to support young Caleb. No doubt Caleb Muntz is a skilled, smart fly half. He just has to trust his instincts and play his natural game, knowing that he has some of the international rugby's biggest stars around him. And kick his goals. No pressure, Caleb, but nothing less than 80% plus is acceptable at Test and Rugby World Cup level. Apart from Muntz and Celestino Ravutaumanda on the wing, plus Frank Lomani at halfback, the rest of the Fiji Water Flying Fijians are superstar professionals. And the team is Sireli Mangala at fullback from Bayonne in France, Chiuta Wainingolo, wing from Toulon, Waisea Nayadalevu, captain from Toulon, Joshua Tuisova, inside centre, Lyon, Celestino Ravutaumanda, Caleb Muntz, Frank Lomani, all Fijian Drua. And in the front row for Fiji tomorrow, Penny Rovai from the Queensland Reds, Samuela Matavesi from Northampton Saints in the Gloucester League in England, Mesaki Ndonge from the Dragons team in Wales, Isoana Silasila, Fijian Drua, Temo Mayanavanu'a from Lyon, top 14 France, Lekima Tangivalu from Perrines in France, Levanim Botia, superstar for La Rochelle, and Albert Tuisue of Gloucester in the Guinness Premiership in England. Replacements for Fiji, Tevita Ikanavere, Roni Maui, Luke Tangi, Te Ahiwaru Dhirikindaveta, all Fijian Drua, Viliame Mata of Edinburgh, Penny Matawalu, Fijian Drua, Ben Volavola, Racing 92, and Semi Randrandra. Needs no introduction, but he plays for Lyon, top 14 in France from next season. No Israel Folau, but the Kalitahi Tonga field 4 former All Blacks in their matchday 23, including at fullback Charles Piutau of Bristol, on one wing Fine Inisi, at centre Afusipa Taumuepeau of Perugian, Malakai Fekitoa at inside centre Benetton in Italy. On the other wing, Solomon Ikata of Leicester Tigers in England. Their fly half is Otumaka Mausia of Parramatta in Sydney. And the halfback and captain is Sonatani Takulua of Stade Montois of France. Their front row, Siegfried Fisi Ihoi of Pau in the top 14 in France, Siua Male of Benetton in Italy, and Ben Tamefuna of Bordeaux. The locks are Halaleva Fifita of Connaught in Ireland and Samuela Luisi of Scarlets in Wales. And the back row is Tangi Noah Halai Fonua of Grenoble, top 14 in France, Solomoni Funaki of Moana Pacifica, and Vaea Fifita of Scarlets in Wales. So their former All Blacks, Charles Piutau, Malakai Fekitoa, Ben Tamefuna, and Vaea Fifita. And finally, confirming the global interest in this test, the video clip of the Fiji water flying Fijians trudging uphill at the Singatoka sand dunes in the rain while singing on Tuesday morning has gone viral on social media with over 1 million views in the last 24 hours. It picked up over 300,000 views on one tweet alone, then found its way to TikTok, where it has so far received over 600,000 views and 80,000 likes on Rugby World Cup. So, with the Rugby World Cup looming and so many overseas-based professionals on Churchill Park on Saturday, you can bet there will be huge global interest and viewership in the outcome of this test. Our world-famous tip for tomorrow, the Fiji Water Flying Fijian swords will more than match Ikalitahi in the tight, and Fiji simply has too much firepower in their backs. But, having said that, we have seen so many tests in the past where Fiji looked too good on the team sheet, but one thing about the Tongans is they never give up. And that's a wrap. For TeVovoSports.com, I'm Calden Kamea. Please hit the like and subscribe buttons below if you want to receive more Pacifica sports highlights on Breakfast Bites. Mahalo, kakite, and thank you all tumas for all your love and support.